Okay, welcome everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher,
sir.
I hear you.
Thank you so much. Uh, mm, Enable the access to Anderson. Welcome, Anderson. And I don't know who is sharing this wallpaper that it's like a desert where you can see galaxies and stuff. I think Santiago Arango is sharing that image. Santiago, can you please get rid of the image so I can start sharing the screen to explain the topic that we're going to talk about today? I'm going to share my screen. That's what I'm doing. Can you view my screen? Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, teacher.
All right, thank you. So as usual, we are going to access through www.senavirtual.edu.co. And what we do is that we click here on the English Deskwork level 13, and we click here on actividades de aprendizaje, guía. And here we're going to find the component that we're going to discuss today, which is called Let's Argue and Debate About Global Problems. Let's argue and debate about global problems. Okay. So first, I would like to start asking you a question. What do you think is the biggest problem that the world is facing right now? Or what are the main problems that we have to face in today's world? You're more than welcome to, you're invited to use your microphone and talk or to use the chat. Yes, Christian, go ahead.
Well, talking about the global problems might be a lot of. Well, there are the corruption, the poverty, also
Mm-hmm.
the environment,
Okay.
economy's problem. Also, we are saying now about the water, about the global problem that is also affecting us and the
Yeah,
other.
the shortage of water. Yep.
Yes. And another kind of things, I don't know, maybe the also like the fight with the other countries,
Yeah,
the
some conflicts between
yes,
countries.
the
All right.
conflicts.
All right, Christian. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your interesting um, observation. Who else was going to talk? Herman?
Yes, sir. I think the one of uh, the major problem is the lack of opportunities in order to find or get a job.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
uh, it causes poverty, as my partner said before, corruption, and many bad things or negative things for the society.
Yeah, and that it's a problem that affects young people, right? Well, I think it affects everyone, but especially young people. And when you are young and you don't have that many opportunities, then you probably are at risk of engaging in some illegal activities or undesirable activities. So yeah, thank you so much for your interesting insights. I'm going to keep sharing here the components. So we click here on the name of the component, the name of the module. This is like a big module in which we have different activities. You already saw that in the previous what's it called? The previous session that we had the other day. So we're gonna click here and let's argue and debate about global problems. So let's see what we have here. This is the content that we have: introduction, phrasal verbs, intensifiers, contrasting opinions, organizing the ideas, synthesis, and the activities. So let's start with introduction. So let's argue and debate about global problems. So you're more than welcome to watch this video. I don't think you're gonna get Can you hear what the video says?
No.
No,
No?
sir.
No? Well, not that relevant. Don't worry if you cannot listen to it. You will have the opportunity to listen to it like at home, so no problem. The important thing here is not the introduction, but the content. Phrasal verbs. Okay, phrasal verbs is probably one of the most complex topics that we, as speakers of a romantic language, can face. Because in Spanish, we don't have that many phrasal verbs, right? Perhaps one phrasal verb that I can think of in Spanish is darse cuenta. Darse cuenta is similar to descubrir, perhaps, because phrasal verbs are verbs that are composed by two or three words. Normally, they're composed by a verb and one or two prepositions, right? Mm, so we this is not an easy topic, right? This is not an easy topic. It's not easy at all. There are many type of phrasal verbs. There are lots of phrasal verbs. We'll never get to learn all the phrasal verbs that English has because there's too many. It's a whole universe. But the important thing is that we start discovering them. Perhaps you're already familiarized with many of your with many phrasal verbs, and to be able to use them correctly, right? Uh, the thing here with phrasal verbs is that some of them are literally they literally mean what you would think they mean because of the composition because of the words that make part of it, but some others are not literal at all. They have a totally different meaning, right? Meaning that has no connection whatsoever with the words that compose the phrasal verb. So, for example, bring up. I want to bring up my children in a safe and healthy environment. Bring up, it's bring, it's traer. Up is arriba. Bring up is not traer arriba. Bring up is criar, right? I want to bring up my children in a safe and healthy environment, right? But it also means to mention a topic. So debate participants brought up new topics to be discussed. So again, as in many situations in English, the important thing is the context. What is the difference between this bring up and this bring up here? The context, right? What makes English so fascinated, or like among the things that make English a fascinating language, is the fact that context is really important, guys. You really need to be smart to understand English because you are always playing with the context. If the context changes, one word means a different thing, right? And that happens a lot. It happens in Spanish as well. Consider the fact that you mentioned the word plancha, right? Plancha is a word that we all know what plancha is, right? But what if I was to tell you that I mentioned the word plancha um, in a meeting of engineers who are discussing a new building, a new house that they're building, right? So plancha there means something like that, that would mean like terrace or like story. On the other hand, if I say plancha at home in my house, if I ask my mom or my dad about a plancha, then I'm talking about the iron, right? If I say plancha when I'm playing soccer with my friends, when I'm playing football with my friends, then that means that someone is going to tackle or slide and get the ball from somebody else. So that arbitrarity that words has, that different types of meanings that the word has, um, let's say that is even bigger and deeper when it comes to talk about phrasal verbs. Let's see some other examples. Carry on, continue. This country has carried on trying despite the hard times and struggles, right? Carry on. Carry on a conversation, right? Carry on what you're doing, right? Carry on. Carry on actually has a meaning that is not literal, but is easy to relate to the meaning, right? Carry is like traer on, like adelante o sobre. So carry on, continuar. Well, that makes sense, right? Give up, right? Give up, give dar, up, arriba. If you put it together, means rendirse, right? Workout could mean solucionar o descifrar algo or ejercitarse. So the important thing about phrasal verbs is number one, don't panic. Don't panic with phrasal verbs. Don't worry if you don't understand them all. If you um, if you find a phrasal verb that you thought the meaning was different, no problem. The important thing is to try to practice and incorporate them as soon as possible to your vocabulary, to your discourse. Mm, let's see what other examples are. We ran out of examples. We don't have any more. So sometimes the same phrasal verb can have several or different meanings, right? Okay, phrasal verbs. I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to share this the tab so you can listen to the video. Second. Okay, let's listen to it.
Phrasal verbs.
Phrasal verbs. They are very common in spoken and informal English. They indicate action and are constituted by two parts, a verb and an adverb or preposition. For example, stand up, sit down. In this particular phrasal verbs, the adverb or preposition comes right after the verb. Sometimes the adverb or preposition is located after the object. For example, put your toys away. We can also say, put away your toys. The order of the object and the adverb or preposition can usually be changed unless we are using a pronoun for our object. For example, let's use the pronoun them in place of the toys. We say, put them away. We cannot say, put away them. If using a pronoun as the object of a phrasal verb, it must go between the verb and the preposition or adverb. The meaning of some phrasal verbs are more obvious. They are literal. Stand together with up means to stand up. But many phrasal verbs are not literal. They are figurative. The meaning of a phrasal verb can often be something completely different to the base verb. This means that phrasal verbs need to be memorized individually. Take this phrasal verb, make up. The verb make means to build, form, fabricate something. You could make a pizza, but the phrasal verb make up means something completely different. Make up refers to people reconciling, like in, I wanted to make up with my friend after our fight. Here's another phrasal verb, look up. It can be used literally, like in Astrid looked up in the starry sky. But the same phrasal verb can mean something different, like to search for information in a book or a database, like in he looked up the word in his dictionary. Or it can mean to admire someone. For example, your fans look up to you. When you come across a phrasal verb you don't know, Try looking for clues in the sentence to help you work out what it might mean. You might be surprised how often you can work them out.
All right, very good. So, as lovely Michelle explained here, the phrasal verbs are a very extensive topic with lots of different compositions, right? Because they can be composed by one verb and one adverb, or one verb and two prepositions. But the important thing to keep in mind is that we have to, once we get to understand one, we have to try to use it as many times as possible so we can incorporate it. We can make it part of our daily discourse. Otherwise, it will be impossible. Phrasal verbs cannot be learned, for example, like we learned the past simple of verbs, right? That we have a list and we start repeating. Be was been. Be was were been. Become became become. Cut. Begin began begun. No, that cannot be the case of phrasal verbs because there's just too many of them. And actually, what we need to keep in mind is that we should use the most common ones, right? Because as any other language, English has a set of words that are a lot more popular than others, a lot more used. They're frequently used by the speakers, right? And those are the ones that we have to pay attention to, right? One tip to expand our knowledge in phrasal verbs is to read authentic material. What's authentic material? Authentic material is material that has not been created with the purpose of teaching English. Authentic material is, for example, a book written 100% in English. For example, Harry Potter books, right? If you find them in English, you get to read them, you'll get lots of phrasal verbs in there, right? Or articles, or maybe newspapers in English, magazines, right? Or scripts from series and movies. We have a great opportunity right now in this, is that we can we can watch series in English with subtitles in English, right? So that helps a lot. So think about your favorite TV show, for example, The Simpsons. I love The Simpsons. I was born in 1985. I'm 38 years old, and for people my age and a bit older and a bit younger, The Simpsons is just awesome, unbelievable. So something that I do is that I watch The Simpsons with subtitles in English, right? So, since I already know pretty much all the dialogues of the Simpsons family by heart because I have seen the shows many times. So, when I see the words in English there, I start incorporating that. I'm like, oh, okay, that's how you said that in English. All right, I'll practice it. I'll practice it. And if you can do that with any other TV show that you love, that will help you a lot. And you will find lots of phrasal verbs in there. Okay. So that's for the video. Let's see here. Look at the sky. It's so great and gloomy. And the saddest thing is that those aren't rain clouds. It's smog. I know the government should cut back cut back on the use of fossil fuels. They're putting off the change to clean energy, but it's a must to take down the petroleum from the list of most used energy sources. So, cut back es recortar, ¿sí? Este es literal, cut back, ¿sí? Entonces, bueno, no tan literal, pero pues se parece bastante el significado, ¿cierto? Y este otro, put off, sí es un poquito más ambiguo, pues, por así decirlo, un poco más complicado porque es put off es aplazar, posponer, ¿sí? Posponer. Y take down es derribar, ¿sí? Entonces, bien, eso es un ejemplo. Some phrasal verbs are, they have the root, and the root is normally the verb. And this is a very beautiful map because it shows us the meaning of of phrasal verb depending on what preposition we use. Look for, right? To search for something or someone. Look after, to be responsible or to take care of someone. Look at, to stare at something or someone. Look into, to research, right? Look up, to admire, right? Look up to admire. Look out for, to be attentive, to be aware or of, or to take care of something or someone. Look out for. Look through, to review. Look up, to consult or search. Look forward to, morirse de las ganas, to wait for something exactly. And look over, to check, right? So as you can see, some of these meanings are a little bit similar because they share the root look. However, some of them are not similar at all. For example, look after, cuidar, and look forward to, morirse de las ganas. See? So look at these two completely different meanings that have as a base the verb look, right? And as we are seeing this with look, we could do the same example with verbs like get. For example, get is using hundreds of phrasal verbs, right? This is pretty technical, guys. Intransitive, separable, transitive. This is really technical, guys. You really don't need to spend your energy or devote your energy on this purpose because you're gonna get confused. Trust me. This is information that is relevant for English teachers, linguistic students, grammar students. You guys are not grammar students or linguistic students. Just keep in mind that phrasal verbs are pretty diverse. There's diversity of phrasal verbs, and keep your mind open, right, to the meanings. Okay, take off. Some of these phrasal verbs are separable. That means that you can put the word, um, the object in the meaning in sorry, right in between the two words that make part of the phrasal verb. So, for example, let down. Let down is decepcionar. Let me down, let you down. So I can put the word in the middle, right? There are some others that are non-separable and breakable. For example, break down. I cannot say I broke you down. No. Look after. I cannot say I look you after. No, I look after you, right? Run out of, se me acaba algo, ¿sí? Entonces yo puedo decir, se me acabó el agua, ¿sí? Entonces debo decir, I ran out of water. No puedo decir, I ran water out of. No. ¿Sí? Yo puedo decir, por ejemplo, I drink up some water or I drink some water up, ¿sí? Ese es separable. Yo puedo decir, drink it up, tómatelo, drink it up. Eso lo puedo decir, lo puedo separar. Pero run out of, no. Casi siempre los no separables son los que tienen tres palabras, ¿sí? Casi siempre. De todos modos, hay muchos que son de dos palabras, como roll up. Okay, roll up, uno puede decir roll it up, but well, irrelevant. Okay, use the phrasal verb to complete the conversation. So hopefully the new environmentalist senator we voted for is not
Hopefully, the new environmentalist senator we voted for is not going to let us down.
to let us down, right? I also have faith he's going to help us out. The oil tycoons cannot get away. Entonces, los magnates del petróleo no se pueden salir con la suya.
I also have faith he's going to help us out. The oil tycoons cannot get away with this ecocide.
Yes. What good is what good is it for us to recycle if they take off their private jets and with a single 15-minute trip they contaminate what we do in our entire life?
Yes, what good is it for us to recycle if they take off their private jets and with a single 15-minute trip they contaminate what we do in our entire lives?
Exactly, my point. That's a pending discussion we all need to talk about.
Exactly my point. That's a pending discussion we all need to talk about.
Exactly my point of view. Check. It's all good. No. Okay. Intensifiers. Before we move on, is there any question about the phrasal verbs? ¿Alguna pregunta, chicos, sobre phrasal verbs?
No teacher, no questions.
Okay, very good. No questions. Okay, very good. So, intensifiers. Intensifiers are adverbs or adverbial phrases that strengthen, that emphasize the meaning of other expressions, especially adjectives, and help us show emphasis. Let's see some of them. Listen and repeat. Intensifiers: to, some, extremely, super, very, really, pretty, somewhat, fairly, a little. So it is different if I say, let's say that you ask me, so Johnny, are you going to buy a new cell phone? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy a new cell phone. And yesterday I saw an announcement, I saw an ad online, and I saw that there was this brand new cell phone, which is, 1 second, please. Okay, so here. So and I saw this brand new cell phone that was a little expensive, a little bit expensive, right? That's one thing. If I say a little bit expensive, if I say somewhat expensive, now if I say extremely expensive, that is different, right? That's different. The meaning of the sentence changes a lot, right? These intensifiers are a very good way to improve your English in terms of use, yeah, in terms of like how realistic you talk, because English speakers, native speakers of English, especially Americans, are very dramatic. Yeah, these guys are just like in the movies, they're all the time like, oh my god, oh really, wow. So they tend to use a lot of intensifiers, right? So we want to use them because they help us emphasize on what we mean. Have you heard of Julia Hart? She's a highly successful. So different if I say she's a successful businesswoman. If I say she's a highly successful businesswoman, I'm talking about something that's out. I'm talking about someone who's outstanding, right? Who's like a top businesswoman, not any businesswoman around. Not she doesn't sell lotions and creams on with the Avon flyer. No, she's a very prestigious businesswoman. So who has shown that it is possible for women to break glass ceiling in innovative companies.
Have you heard of Julie?
So glass ceiling is an expression that means, well, literally in Spanish means techo de cristal, and that means like that. Techo de cristal is like the boundaries that women have to outstand, right? To excel, because there are some social burdens that for decades we as society have put on women's shoulders, and that prevent women from being as successful as they could, right? El techo de cristal es un término que se refiere a la imposibilidad que por el hecho de ser mujeres, muchas mujeres tienen para poder desarrollarse profesionalmente a la par de los hombres, como por ejemplo que todavía se demuestra, por desgracia, que estadísticamente mm, los hombres solemos recibir más salario por labores similares, ¿sí? Por ejemplo, eso es un síntoma del techo de cristal. So that's what they're talking about. Now, to be honest, I'm quite illiterate in terms of business and gender topics. Tell me more about her. She is the co-founder of Eventbrite, which is easily the best place to work in the US, according to the San Francisco Business Times newspaper. Really, that's very impressive. Okay, that's very impressive, right? Very impressive. Mm, I'm quite is another intensifier. I'm quite illiterate. Illiterate means iletrado, que no tengo mucha información sobre un tema, ¿no? Lo importante acá es ver cómo los intensifiers me ayudan a hacer énfasis en lo que quiero expresar, ¿no? Por ejemplo, Julia Hart es una altamente, voy a traducir literal, altamente exitosa empresaria, ¿cierto? Uno diría es una empresaria muy exitosa o de alto impacto o de, ¿sí? Entonces ese highly successful nos ayuda a hacer énfasis. El highly acá es un adverbio de modo. Ok. The most common intensifiers.
The current levels of inflation are extremely dangerous.
Extremely. Repeat after me. Repeat at home. Extremely. Extremely is one of the most common ones, and it's very nice to say it. It gives you a nice taste in the mouth when you say extremely. The conservation of endangered species is very.
The conservation of endangered species is very important.
The conservation of endangered species is very important. I'm really proud of my culture and ancestry.
I'm really proud of my culture and ancestry.
Very good. Strong. So more intense, more powerful. Strong. Rather
Violence against minorities is rather high for this civilized era.
rather high. It's pretty high, yeah, higher than expected, but not ridiculously high, like if we were using more intense. The fight against corruption has been quite difficult, right? To a limited extent, fairly pretty or somewhat.
The recovery of the markets has been fairly recent. Vegan products are pretty good. People is somewhat excited about the football championship.
Yo aquí discrepo en esta clasificación. A mí me parece que el pretty es mucho más fuerte que el rather y que el quite. ¿Sí? El pretty suele ser como para... No, I'm pretty sure about that. Estoy muy seguro sobre esto. Pero bueno, no estamos aquí para discutirlo. Lo importante es usarlo. So, intensifier plus adjective. Very big.
Very big.
Strong adjective. Enormous. Huge. Gigantic. Very small. Tiny. So there are some strong adjectives. For example, good. Si digo bueno, muy bueno, y que es algo muy bueno, excelente, ¿cierto? Entonces esos adjetivos fuertes no son graduables. Yo no puedo decir usted es muy excelente, ¿sí? You're very excellent. No, you're excellent. Eres excelente, ¿sí? O puedo decir eres muy bueno. You're pretty good. You're very good. ¿Mm? Pero no puedo decir you're pretty excellent, you're very excellent, you're ridiculously excellent. No. ¿Ok? Es para tenerlo en cuenta. Very clever, very bad, awful, terrible, disgusting, dreadful, very sure, certain, very good, excellent, perfect, ideal, etc. One second. Okay. Some gradable words, some intensifiers. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Repeat at home. Really.
Really.
Completely.
Completely.
Quite.
Quite.
Exceptionally.
Exceptionally.
Exceptionally. Totally. Totally.
Totally.
Particularly.
Particularly. Utterly.
Utterly. Utterly is not very common, but well, still you can use it. Okay. So the practice here for this business even made Fortune's 100 best workplaces list for its groundbreaking company culture, and she has had an extremely important role here. Okay, extremely important. Well, it's impressive to see a woman succeeding like that, especially in a culture as macho as the one we live in today. I think it's really impressive. Let's listen to it.
Well, it's really impressive to see a
Really.
woman succeeding like that, especially in a culture as macho as the one we live in today.
Ok, entonces acá nos está hablando, macho es machismo, ¿no? Ojo, no podemos equiparar machismo y feminismo, ¿no? No es lo mismo. El feminismo es un movimiento social que lucha por unas reivindicaciones de derechos a las mujeres y en general a cualquier persona, ¿no? Mientras que el machismo es una enfermedad social producto de unas prácticas estructurales que han relegado a las mujeres a ciertos roles simplemente porque así nos parece. Entonces, macho, pues es machismo. Ahí están hablando de esto. Bien, yes, and the pay gap between men and women is a complex problem.
Yes, and the pay gap between men and women is a particularly complex problem.
It's a particularly complex problem. And it is also a topic,
And it is also a topic somewhat disregarded and little debated.
somewhat disregarded and little debated. Very good. Okay. All right, excellent. Any questions so far? ¿Alguna pregunta?
Oh, teacher, so far so good.
Okay, thank you. Contrasting opinion. This is the last topic here. So, sometimes when we talk about these issues, when we talk about global warming, when we talk about feminism, when we talk about um, economic situation and what we should do, if we should perhaps take some actions that are more related to the right ideas in which we should restrict the state and lower taxes and let the companies and capitalism regulate itself, or if we should follow some ideas from the left political view, which is like more control of the state of some big decisions that can impact population. We tend to have a lot of misunderstanding, and we have different points of views, right? We have contradictions. That's what I was looking for. So when we have a different opinion, we have to be very strategical when it comes to uh, give strong arguments about what we think, right? um, so when we speak to a friend, we often agree or disagree. We can have lots of disagreement. So if we don't want to make a fight out of this, we need to show empathy, right? And use the right sentences without sounding aggressive. We need to express our opinions and at the same time show that we are listening, understanding, and appreciating the other opinions. Here are different ways to do so in a conversation. Entonces esto es como, no nos vamos a sentar como en una mesa, estuviera la tía petrista y el tío uribista, no, but rather we need to have like an open mind to understand each other points of view. Okay, so let's see these expressions here.
Expression 1. I see, but that's different. Example. Speaker A. I do not like wearing jeans to work. I feel they are quite informal. Speaker B. I see, but that's different. For instance, if they are worn with a formal blouse and casual shoes, they may look formal too.
Okay, I see, but that's different. That's one expression to show that you understand the point of view that the other person offers, but you have a different point you want to make.
Expression 1. Yes, I agree with you, but. Example. Speaker A. I do not think we should take classes about other stuff that is not related to our careers. Speaker B. Yes, I agree with you, but I have seen I need to know about so many subjects when I am performing a task.
Very good. So, did you see the way teachers are educating our children? It is too strict.
Did you see the way teachers are educating our children? It is too strict.
Of course, you're right, but being too flexible is not a good idea
Of
either.
course, you're right, but being too flexible is not a good idea either.
You can say either or either, okay? Either good is either way is right to pronounce. Also, what is what is the project they're doing? Are they picking up money for the old people? I think that's not fair. We do have our own expenses.
Also, what is the project they are doing? Are they picking up money for the old people? I think that is not fair. We do have our own expenses.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Es muy común. I know what you mean. Entiendo. Sé a lo que te refieres. Entiendo a lo que te refieres, but those old people are out. Sorry. Those old people are out in the street. They need shelter and food.
I know what you mean, but those old people are out in the street. They need shelter and food.
Okay. Very So, organizing the ideas of an argument with mind maps. So,
Visualizing concepts, communicating ideas, outlining reports and documents, simplifying tasks and project management.
okay, guys. I must admit that I'm not a really good mental mind map designer. Actually, I have had serious difficulties in my academic life with these mind maps because I am not that visual. Rather, I'm a very auditory learner. I tend to learn everything by listening to the way things are set rather than like seeing and organizing in a visual way things. However, this is very important because when you get to know, excuse me, yeah, Christian, what do you need?
No, nothing.
Okay, all right. When you learn how to express your ideas in a visual way, they become a lot more comprehensible for others. Okay. One second. Okay, I was about to sneeze, but I couldn't. So the main idea must be written in the center. Okay, the main themes can surround the central topic as branches. The branches can have keywords connected with lines. Topics of lesser importance are represented as twigs of the relevant branch. Twig es como una rama más chiquita, ¿ok? Y branch es rama. The branches form a connected nodal structure. Okay, this is a mind map, for example. And software to create mind maps. Gocorn, MindMeister, Lucid Chart. I use Lucid Chart, Xmind, or iMindMap. Okay, so what am I showing all of this? Because you will have to create a mentefacto or a mind map, right? Um,
Did you see the homework we have for next Friday? We need to present a mind map.
Oh, that's easy. We just need to brainstorm our ideas.
Also, we need to be creative and add images, don't we?
Creative.
Yep, we cannot forget to connect the ideas as branches. I mean, organize them next to the principal idea.
Okay. Okay, guys. So, en este componente pudimos practicar temas como los phrasal verbs, los intensificadores, aprendimos a contrastar opiniones y organizar nuestras ideas de un argumento en mapas mentales. El componente llamado Discutamos y debatamos sobre un problema global le enseñó cómo usar esa gramática para dominar nuestras habilidades en inglés. Obviamente, estimados estudiantes, aprendices, ustedes van a visitar este material de nuevo, lo van a analizar en detalle, lo van a revisar con mayor tiempo, ¿sí? Con mayor calma, y van a poder sacar sus propias conclusiones de todo esto. ¿Alguna pregunta hasta aquí? ¿Alguna pregunta, duda, inquietud?
It's all right.
Okay, Fabio, thank you. Bien, so if there are no questions, thank you so much for having shared this space with me. I hope you have understood the main ideas of all these topics that you have to deal with. Good luck. Please be patient to visit all the component and to have a detailed review of all the explanation and all the examples that it has. And well, just keep working on the course. Thank you so much for your time. And I will talk to you tomorrow at this time again at 8 o'clock. And we will be talking about the, 1 second, I'm going to confirm what we are going to talk about tomorrow. Our session is about the mind map, yeah, mentefacto. Mañana la sesión es sobre la primera actividad calificable del nivel. Entonces es importante que puedan asistir o que la vean grabada en caso de que no puedan asistir. ¿Listo?
Maybe it's the second one, Johnny.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The second one, because the first one was the test. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's the second one. Yeah, it's probably the first one that you have to elaborate and attach and send, because the other one was automatically on the platform. But you're right, it's the second one that's graded. Jennifer, tell me. Jennifer, any question, Jennifer?
Oh, no, sorry, teacher.
No, don't worry. Christian, go ahead.
Well, the question is that, well, I think that you already answered my question, but it's because I'm in 11th grade in my school, so tomorrow I have to study until night. So that's why that I mean that I can assist to.
Oh, don't worry, you can watch the recording and that will be fine.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right, guys. So I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. Rest, sweet dreams, and
Thank
take
you,
care.
teacher. Good night.
Thanks a lot, teacher. Good night.
Thank you, Johnny. Get well soon.